Well, it appears that the Tachyon Galaxy still has some surprises. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more awesome. You know, we've been rummaging through these regionals, and you know, while we're kind of heading into like the end of the block here for some of these, it's been pretty exciting just to still see some of these different challengers kind of creeping through here, you know, as we're kind of getting ready to head on into Blazing Dominion format here. Now, I will say, obviously, this meta, it's had its perks. You know, there's been a lot of variety that has kind of peeked through some of these events, and it's actually been kind of nice. Now, the regional here, you had, yes, Branded ended up winning the event. If you've kind of noticed, Branded has just been edging itself out over Draco Tale as, like, the consistent meta challenger, which is fine, right? Like, you want this deck to still kind of be the better monster as it's supposed to be, because it just is able to overcome a lot of things. Now, we do see Elf Note actually surprising us here and doing pretty well. Elf Note is also one of those decks that's about to get a whole lot better, and I think when people actually get the time to sit down and actually dig into where the innovations for this are going to go, you're going to be quite surprised. Now, we also had Vanquishal. Vanquishal, I think, still remains one of the bigger challengers in the room. That part's not really going to change as time goes on. Now, the reason why I wanted to look at this regional was we had this Tachyon Mitsurugi list here that actually came out of the woodwork here and made top 8. Now, that's not a super impressive feat, but it's enough that I was like, wow, you know, we really are getting to see some interesting little renditions out of these regionals. We also did have Cupsy, Yummy, and Friends with the Fiendsmith build, which we don't have the list. We do have Momento, which Momento has definitely been an interesting challenger throughout these events. Like, seriously, this deck keeps popping up doing weird things. And we also had pure Mitsurugi running it on back here. And, you know, if you're underestimating what Mitsurugi can do, you're about to have a bad time. Now, winning our event was Despia Branded. Now, this is playing 41 cards. It's actually not too bad. I've noticed most of these lists are just choosing to play the one Incredible Ecclesia. There's not really much of a reason to like branch into multiples. And the really cool thing is, like, if your opponent stops this, you know, the Branded Fusion's still effectively online and you're still able just to kind of trudge through the way that the deck wants to play, which I do think is kind of nice. You got to think about the opportunities and play costs that the deck effectively allows you to generate, which is kind of nice. And of course, you know, Triple Fallen and Virtuous. We do have the Branded in red for like the capitalization play, you know, where you go to basically just set up just to be able to smash through and do crazy things. You no longer have like the Guardian Chimera, because, you know, your extra deck, you have to play other good cards now, which is fine. You also see we are maximizing on triple super polymerization. I think this is fine. Super poly, I mean, you have so many cards at your access point here just to be able to clear up problems that the opponent's setting up, which is fine. I also see we are playing the one cross out in the deck, which you got to think about your coverage, right? Crossout's going to be able to cover pretty much all these hand traps you're going to need, and you should effectively be fine. I also like the fact this deck is playing the triple sphere mode down here, just to be able to roll this on out and paralyze the opponent's good. Also, what's an Albion, if you didn't notice that? Next up here, we have Clyde's Fiendsmith Elf Note pile. Now, if you've noticed, the TCG started kind of taking notice of some of the other cool cards that you can do. You know, we're missing a level 10 for the deck. Well, that's where the Beelzebub decides to, you know, take the place of, you know, what we're missing. And honestly, I don't think that this is a bad replacement for Baron. You know, your playlines are still able to effectively work the same as the other variant. You just kind of, you got to wedge it in a little bit. You also do see Armades is about to become a massive power hit with this deck. Armades just provides you so much more, you know, for the Fiendsmith package. Also, you know, look, Power Patron Online, you know, Medius, level 5, congratulations, full Fiendsmith combo has been unlocked. So that's something that you kind of got to think about. Also do see we are going with the triple copies of the Secret Village here. Secret Village is absolutely a bonkers card, and the fact that you have spellcaster access to turn this on is so crazy to think about. So overall, I mean, the Fiendsmith build is very, very, very strong. You are able to do a lot of pretty disgusting things with this build because of, you know, broken tool interactions and just having the Fiendsmith stuff just be, you know, a turn on for the deck. Next up here, we have Branded Draco Tale. This is Yuki's list, 42 cards. I do see, yes, you are playing the Frixel because it's really funny to me because this build is making better use of Albion than, you know, the other variants are tending to make use of it. But this actually is such an incredibly useful piece to this deck. It's good. I also see we are playing Abolenitus. I mean, we're at a point now where just being able to do like a giant contact fuse up with the opponent's field actually means quite a lot for this deck. You also do see we are side decking the Fenrirs. This has been a pretty normal thing as well. Having access to the Fenrir, especially, you know, special Fenrir, add Fenrir. Congratulations, you got another fuser to be able to pull back another resource for yourself to do the thing. That's why I always love this. Also, you know, don't underestimate having Fenrir on the field. Like, his mid-range control aspect is one of the crazier little tool options that you can have. Like, his job is just to make sure, oops, there went the opponent's card. Next up is the legendary Tachyon pile. Now, a couple of things that you need to understand about this. This was what, 40? Oh no, this is 50 cards. They managed to jam pack that much into one deck. So one of the scary things that this deck can do is you have access to Catapult Turtle down here. You can actually do the ha-ha funny with this and actually do the FTK. A lot of people, I think, have forgotten that Catapult Turtle is still very much a card. We are in a very scary time right now in this game where if you're not respecting hand traps, so you're like, oh, you know, what's the bad Tachyon player gonna do? And then all of a sudden you're just like, holy shit, I just got FTK'd because my opponent boarded and the Catapult Turtle went first. And, you know, like, if you're playing going second deck against this deck and you let them go first, I have also fallen a victim to the craziness of just getting absolutely obliterated by this deck. Do not, and I will say this again for those of you in the back, do not let this deck go first, or you are going to absolutely, you know, get shreked on. Also, I mean, the Mitsurugi stuff just is going to ensure that this deck is going to get such a good, strong baseline established that you're going to have a lot of problems dealing with this. So, overall, coming up and playing Tachyon anything right now was an ingenious strategy. I will give them that. I think they did it wonderfully, and I look forward just to seeing, you know, how the rest of this meta is going to handle this. Next up, we have Momento. You know, I'm still surprised that this deck has actually managed to somehow hold on into the clutches of the meta for as long as it has, because I swear every time I look at these lists, it's like, how are you functioning? I see we are doing the Radiant Typhoon Visions in here, which is fine. We're also only playing 2 copies of the Fallen and the Virtuous, which, this is fine, right? Like, the Fallen and Virtuous's job is just to make sure that, you know, we're going to get our free little advantage and kind of go with it, which is not too terrible, I suppose. Geonator Transverser for the stupidness of handing your opponent something. Remember, the little switcheroo you're able to do with some of these decks does end up mattering quite a decent amount, a little bit more than I want to admit, but it does tend to impact some of the capabilities that you see within the meta, so interesting. Next up here, we have Pure Mitsurugi. This is actually just fine. Pure Mitsu, in terms of the way it plays, I mean, like, you need some extra DLC. Like, you need some Dominuses. You gotta access, you know, the smaller Mitsurugi package. But, I mean, like, in terms of what's available, I mean, you need one Incredible Ecclesia, some of the Albion stuff. The Fallen and Virtuous is just to make sure that, you know, you can clear up resources. But, like, post-side decking, you can bring in the extra reptile monsters. Like, that's why I like Mitsurugi. Even now, the deck continues to be innovated, and you just see, you know, less and less of a headache in terms of the amount of, you know, leeway with the deck, which is incredible, actually. I like that. So what do you guys kind of think about everything that's present here? You know, it's definitely a lot of interesting room to evolve, and I like that. So please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.